honestly though, it's Julio's. Not bad. Yeah.
It's, the JR Takes podcast endorses Julio's.
The official cereal of Julio Rodriguez.
Or this is the official cereal of the JR Takes podcast. How about that?
Yeah.
You do not have their permission, but you're doing it anyways.
It's funny. I don't even know if they have the Mariners' permission.
Yeah, because
There's no
Mariner logo right there.
That's just an S.
It's really just Julio.
Yeah.
Also, did you see the back? That's supposed to be Julio.
What? Why does he look like a Looney Tunes character?
Yeah, I don't know. He looks like a robber.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking it's like fucking hamburger.
Well, the Julio's, I would say, are a success.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll give him a 7.5 out of 10.
You know, I don't know how long they're gonna last because either A, they're gonna get tracked down by Fruit Loops, or B, noticed by the MLB.
I was gonna say.
And so
I feel like it's just a lawsuit box.
well, now that I finished my bowl of Julio's,
Well, let me down this.
okay. All right. So, as you might have seen, we just tried the Julio's there, basically a ripoff of Fruit Loops, but they were pretty good.
Not basically, it just is. They're exactly the same as Fruit Loops.
And I can't help but this photo of Julio just looking up at me. It's like he knows that he is stealing Fruit Loops and just.
Hopefully, he's making some good money off of it.
Yeah. But he's had a pretty crazy past week. Julio Rodriguez, that is, in the world of baseball. And he did return yesterday in the lineup from an illness, I believe, but unfortunately, the 8-game win streak was snapped. But you know what? They're going home. They're playing the A's and they're playing the Royals. And other way around. They're playing the Royals first. And those are the two worst teams in baseball.
Who are the Rangers playing in this stretch?
They just got done playing the Diamondbacks, and they lost their 6th game in a row last night. Why don't I fact check that real quick? I'll look up who the Rangers are playing. But
yeah, I was just looking before I showed up for this, and the Mariners are only a game and a half back in the AL West, which is fucking wild.
We haven't been this close to the AL West since, I believe, 2001.
I was going to say,
runnings for the.
It hasn't even been like an option in 22 years, basically.
I know. Yeah.
Like every year, when they are close enough to be in this conversation, it's like, oh, maybe they'll grab the last wild card spot, Like last year and several times in the past, 10 years or so. So the fact that the AL West is right there for the taking.
And so, to answer your question, the Rangers play the Twins, who are leading their division right now. Granted, they're like 65 and 61 or something. So they're
that the AL Central.
The AL Central. The AL Central has been bad for the past few seasons now. But yeah, they play Minnesota, and they've got some good players on their team. There's a reason why they're winning their shitty division. But hopefully they can give the Rangers a little bit of a test today, because the Astros, I believe, the game is not over, I don't think, but the Astros were getting spanked by
wasn't it like
the Red
11
Sox.
to nothing or something?
17-1 was the final.
Well, they probably have that wrapped up. Oh,
it's
final.
It's over.
Final. Okay.
Yeah, so the Astros lost again today. So they now have more losses than we do. One game, so we leapfrogged them and took second place in the division on our day off.
Easy. Gotta love it.
Yeah. So
pretty exciting stuff. So I guess, I don't know, do we want to just wrap up Mariners talk now?
Yeah, I just wanted to briefly mention Julio while we were eating the Julios.
Didn't he have a record for the Mariners for like most hits in an 8-game span or something like that?
Yeah,
what was it?
I believe he had a hit in like 8 straight games or something like that. But the MLB record that he broke was 17 hits in 22 at bats, and that is just insane.
I saw that was a record that stood since 1900.
Yeah,
that's fucked up.
Yeah, yeah.
Washington as a state was only 11 years old when that record was made.
And I think the guy
17 hits in 4 games. That's crazy.
Colby, if you want to figure out who the guy was that used to have the record, because he has some like early 1900s name like Skip something, or
Clyburn or something.
Yeah. But so
that's so long ago that his dad or grandpa lived through the Civil War. That's insane.
Yeah, baseball is it's a pretty awesome sport in that sense, where the longevity and the history of it is.
Oh, so the record was previously held by Milt Stock. He did 16 hits in 1925 for the Brooklyn Robins, which is.
That just sounds like Baskin
You
Robbins.
know that guy was drinking whiskey and smoking cigars between
and
at-bats.
Dude, the pitches that he was probably hitting to get those 16 hits were probably
like
going like
48.
50 miles an hour.
And Brooklyn Robins, I mean, I don't. Is that that seems like it doesn't exist anymore, does it?
Oh, definitely not.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
no.
Yeah, they turned into Baskin Robbins.
Yeah, because Brooklyn. I mean, I'm not a huge, MLB, fan, but like Brooklyn Robins, that's not a team.
That sounds like a person.
Yeah. That just seems like someone made that up and put it on the internet.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad his record is broken. Milt Stock.
Yeah. Well, sorry, Milt, but
your
the
record
streak is over.
your record
Wait,
that
hold on,
stood.
Let me see if I can get a picture of Milt Stock.
They might not even have had photos.
I
Milt
got
Stock was around.
You got him?
Oh, I got him all right.
All right, this is big.
This is him.
I like that we can't even see it, but like
the viewers can see
I want to know if he matches up with what's in my mind's eye.
He looks just like your 1950s.
Dude, he is like exactly what I was picturing.
And his pants, like,
Yeah.
those look so heavy. Old baseball pants from the early 1900s. They look like what you would make overalls out of or something.
They probably were. That must have been uncomfortable.
Good old Milt Stock. Well, Milt, I'm sorry, buddy. Your record's broken. And anyway, moving on to football. So,
well, you know what's funny? Just real quick, I think it's kind of hilarious. Like last year, I remember we had a podcast about the Mariners where I hadn't been paying too much attention, but you were like, I don't even want to talk about them. They're making me so mad. They suck so much ass. And then right after that, they went on a tear. And I feel like we just had an episode, I don't know, a few weeks ago, like 3-4 weeks ago, where we kind of had the same conversation. And now here we are in an even better position than they were last year. It's just kind of crazy.
It is. And I feel like last year sort of taught me a lesson of like baseball is such a long season. Like you can't get upset over one game like you do inevitably from a Seahawks game or from a football game, because there's just less of them. There's a 10th of the amount of football games that there are baseball games. So like your baseball team could be doing terrible or mid, as the kids would say, and hovering around a 500 record, but then like once the final 2 months arrive, your team can really kick it into high gear, and then it becomes like a really suspenseful, exciting sport.
Yeah.
When the playoff race heats up and every little game matters, and you're trying to catch the division leader. So really excited to potentially get a bye week in the playoffs as well, or not a bye week, but a bye round.
Right.
Due to the I believe it's the two AL and NL division leaders with the best records get the bye weeks or bye rounds. So that'll be exciting, because we'll maybe not have to play every game at noon this season like we did last year.
Yeah, that sucked.
Yeah,
I also had to work through like half of them, which was
I had to work through like I think all but the first one. So or the first game we played against the Blue Jays, which we won.
Yeah, and then the one that went into like the 12th inning or something like that with no runs.
It went into like the 18th.
Yeah, I watched that alone at your house because you had to go to work, and I was just like, "We're not gonna win this game."
I know. I remember thinking like when we were watching that game, I was like, "All right, I can watch this whole game because I don't work until 5." And then it was just, all right, I guess I have to go to work. And then the game didn't end for like another 3 hours.
And then it got to a point where I was so sick of watching us not being able to get a hit that I left and I picked Ken up and I was like, let's go get dinner and a drink. Like, I can't do this. And then they're playing the game in there. And so I still had to watch us lose after all that.
Yeah. I'm really excited for the playoffs, though, this season. And, it should be very exciting stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, as long as they stay the course of what they've been doing, they'll at least be in the playoffs again, which, I mean, I couldn't even, you might know, but the last time we made the playoffs 2 years in a row has got to be like 2000, 2001, or just the 90s. I mean,
I think it would have had to be actually, no, it was 2000, 2001, because they made the ALCS both years.
Oh, okay.
And lost to the Yankees both years, so.
That's so horrible.
Yeah.
But, moving back into the world of football, we have a mixture of good and bad news coming out of that second preseason game. I thought Drew Lock, once again, had a really strong performance.
Mm-hmm.
He only threw 6 passes, but for like 118 yards or something like that. So a ridiculous almost 20 yards per pass attempt. Geno looked sharp as well, not as many big plays, but they both... each of them only threw 6 passes and went 5 for 6. So I don't think you can be too upset about that.
I liked the rollout plays that Drew Lock he looked like he was having good success and good vision out there when he was, play action rollout or what have you. Granted, we didn't have that many big plays through that play scheme, but it was good to see him making the throws. And
he, I think, we can talk a lot about this play, but the one to JSN where he fit in a tight window right over his shoulder. Mm-hmm. Right over the DB's back, and then, JSN takes it all the way to the 1. Awesome throw, awesome catch. That looked routine in the moment, but that's just because JSN is already like a freaking pro. Mm-hmm. That was a hard catch to make, and it was a dime of a throw by Drew.
It really was.
He's got, honestly, really, really impressive arm strength. I think it probably is slightly better than Geno's, but the thing is, I read this today. When Drew is playing, we run like the Sean McVay version, the Jared Goff version of our offense, where there's constant play action. And Drew's really good at play action, but when we ask him to do the Geno stuff, where you drop back and read the defense and have more difficult reads, that's when he threw the 3 picks against the Cowboys last year. And I didn't realize that. I guess I just hadn't noticed watching the games until that was pointed out to me. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Because when you run play action, the reads are a lot simpler. It's like you basically, everyone is moving the same direction and you just look for the open guy. Whereas when you drop back, you got to, be very methodical.
Right.
And I believe that is also the interception Drew threw in the first game. I believe was just on a straight drop back, no play action. Just an interesting thing to watch heading into this Green Bay game, because I imagine Drew's going to start it and will probably play at least the first half. But overall, I thought, you can't get mad at a guy for executing the simpler stuff to perfection. I mean, that's not a problem. I just think for his development, it'd be good to give him some more challenging stuff out of the playbook.
Yeah, one play that made me scratch my head was the sweep play to DJ Dallas. Why are we running plays like that? That seems a little silly to me.
Yeah.
That
at least it wasn't to a tight end.
Didn't we do that last year?
We did it on several occasions, and it was always the most disastrous.
Yeah, why do we think that the sweep plays, I feel like the only time it's ever successfully worked for us was when we had Percy Harvin doing it, and that's because he's really fucking fast. And DJ Dallas is just I like DJ Dallas, but he's I feel like he's the slowest out of all of our running backs.
He probably is.
Look at him too. He's bigger. He's not so why we're running the jet sweep with him is beyond me. But you know who I did also like the name,
Roderick Thompson.
Sir Roderick Thompson. Yeah, he had a pretty big game. He's scored a touchdown, and I think he had a juke move or someone someone, or it might have been just a big run. I couldn't remember if it was that or a touchdown.
I mean, I only watched the first 3 quarters roughly.
Mm-hmm. I only watched the condensed game. I had to work.
Okay. But yeah, he had a really nice run down the sideline where it looked like he was maybe going to get 2 yards, and he got 28 or something, just juking people out of their shoes. But yeah, I think just to wrap up the Cowboys game, I think this team has some juice and some energy that's been missing out of this Seattle squad since 2014. They are playing together, and not just the starters, but the backups, the third stringers. Everyone is just amped up and excited and young and passionate. And I don't know if you've listened to this interview podcast between
Sherman and Pete.
Yeah, have you listened to it?
I've seen clips of it.
Okay.
I haven't listened to the full thing.
You should listen to the whole thing. It's one of the best football conversations I've ever listened to. I mean, as a Seattle guy, it's it doesn't get much better than hearing those two guys just have an honest, in-depth conversation about their whole history together. Mm-hmm. It was fantastic. But Pete brought up in that conversation that he feels like this team has basically everyone is bought in a way that they maybe hadn't in previous years, and I feel like you can see it. You can see it translating onto the field, and not everyone's playing perfect, but everyone's playing with a ton of energy.
I mean, this is a pretty obvious statement I'm about to make, but I really think that it has everything to do with a rebuild of the culture.
Yeah.
And not that we're doing anything differently, but we're doing it with different personnel. Whereas Russell Wilson is still a part of that team, or was still a part of that team that lost the Super Bowl. And I saw the clip where Sherman said that they were hurt by the play call, and when they lost, they weren't mad, they were heartbroken by it. And so it's just awesome to see a new fresh batch, a new generation of players that don't have to they don't have that history of that loss on their shoulders.
Yeah,
and all of that.
And it's interesting because we brought Bobby back, and now he's the literal leader of this whole team, I would say, overall. And I mean, he was before he left in the first place. He's the locker room guy.
It's kind of like they rebooted the Seahawks, and they're bringing and they casted a fan favorite in Bobby Wagner to be in the sequel.
He's like Harrison Ford.
You only get one icon. yeah. Bobby, all right.
But yeah, no, I'm really excited for the regular season to start, because I think this team is going to be pretty damn good this year. I have a hard time making predictions, but on another positive note, before we get into some negatives, a pretty important person is back on the practice field today, having been cleared. Jamal Adams.
Yeah, I saw he passed his physical.
Yep, ready to play.
I forgot about him.
So what does he have to do? Because I know he was taken off the PUP list, but what is next for Jamal Adams?
So he's just got to get into football shape. So they're gonna probably just start him going through walkthroughs and whatnot, maybe some individual drills, just lighter work, and then just slowly ramp him up and maybe try to get him ready for week 1. I feel like we're just under 3 weeks out from it, so it's getting a little close. I think it would be kind of a long shot, but I think at the very worst case scenario, because we have an early bye this year,
right?
I think worst case scenario we have him after the bye, so that's only 4 games. But he could be. I mean, it's not impossible that he's ready week 1. So I think that's been kind of lost in the shuffle with all the other players we've added and the coaching changes and this and that. But Jamal Adams being back out there absolutely makes this defense better. I think it makes a difference of 5 ranks better.
Yeah,
honestly.
And it's been so long since we've been able to rely on him as a piece of our defense. Last year and then the year before that, when or was that 2021?
2021, he had the shoulder at the end of the year.
Right. Okay. Yeah, and that was the year we won the division.
No. 2020 he also had
that's
shoulder,
right.
But I think it was his other, like he just got
he's gotten beaten up then.
Yeah, and a torn quad is like that is a serious surgery. So it's actually, even though that was about a year ago now, like it's pretty impressive that he's physically cleared to play, because that could be a 2-year thing for certain people, and at that point it's like, do you even keep going? I mean, that's tough to bounce back from. So
yeah,
really awesome that him and Jordan Brooks both are potentially both going to be suiting up for us week 1.
And I don't think we talked about the JSN injury, did we?
No, we haven't yet. I was trying to get all the positives out of the way, because that one was a gut punch, and it was on that long play.
It was on the long play, yeah. And I don't know. I'm not too worried about it though, because I was hearing things about it, and it sounds like the bone that he fractured is the quickest healing bone in the wrist, or something along those lines is what I heard.
Yeah, I think it's gonna come down to A, his pain tolerance, and B, the likelihood of like re-aggravating the injury if he plays.
We might as well just leave him out as long as possible then, because I don't know. I feel like Jake Bobo is making enough big plays to where he could potentially be our wide
more
receiver
Bobo,
3.
baby. That's all I want. And all I hear in the off season, like scouting reports that come out from the Seattle press, is that every day Bobo does something crazy in practice. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it started as a meme, our love for Bobo, simply because of the name, but the guy's actually fucking good.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the blocking play that he had on the Charbonnet run, where he like acted like it was a pass to kind of drive the DB to the sideline and kind of out of the equation.
He's really got some tricky maneuvers like that. We're just kind of he's really good at like manipulating the defender, and not always just with pure athleticism. I mean, he's pretty quick in his route running, but he has these slight hesitations and things he does with his eyes and mannerisms to trick them, which, I mean, that gets him open. That's why he's able to get open, even though he's kind of a lumbering.
Yeah, because I know he basically ran a 5:40 time, didn't he?
I heard it was more like high 4.6s.
Really? I thought it was like 4.9 something.
I've seen that, but then I've heard other people say like, no, I think what happened was he was injured when he ran that, and then at his pro day he ran like a 4.68 or something like that. So like but still, that's basically 4.7 speed. We're talking like there's several defensive linemen that ran faster than that at the draft. So as a receiver, that's still not fast, but it's not like he's like, I feel like we would be running about a 5. So
yeah, well, it's almost like if he has success while JSN is gone, assuming he makes the team, and then JSN comes back, like Bobo's big enough to where you could probably use him on the outside, have Lockett and JSN in the slot and DK on the other side. That 2 big guys on the outside and the smaller guys on the inside. That seems like a pretty good recipe for success.
Yeah, and I mean, especially with, the D. Eskridge injury the injury and suspension, I guess. And Derek Young might have to get core surgery.
I heard about that.
They keep like flip-flopping on his prognosis for that, but
is that because of the hernia?
They don't they haven't said hernia explicitly yet. They just have been saying core injury, but I don't know what else it would be. It's weird. They've been kind of vague about what's going on with him, but he played against the Cowboys, so hopefully we get some clarity on that. Maybe even Pete addressed it today, but long story short, Bobo has put himself to where he's actually one of our more important players heading into week 1, because I think there's a good chance he's starting as wide receiver 3 against the Rams, especially if we don't want to risk further injury to JSN, because he doesn't need to prove anything else to me. He looks amazing, and I want to watch him in all 17 games, but if we have to make it 16 for the sake of his health, that's fine. I think we can get by with Bobo.
Yeah, I'm honestly like, even though JSN is going to be a really important and valuable piece of the offense, I'm like kind of excited that Bobo is getting the opportunity. It's unfortunate that JSN went down, but I've got to question whether or not he would be an automatic for the team if JSN didn't get hurt.
I was so when we were doing our mock drafts, I kept seeing Bobo pop up in like the 6th or 7th round.
I think I did too, and I just kept like, because that name kind of just sticks with you.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, Bobo, UCLA, and I think I even drafted him once or twice just because I was like, I want Bobo. So he's kind of been on my radar since like fucking February. You know? So it's just funny that we got, because when we signed him as a UDFA, I was like, oh, they got Bobo. That's hilarious. He'll probably just be a camp body, and that'll be the end of it. But
yeah,
I mean, he's kind of been a revelation. So it's just crazy how things work out in the NFL sometimes. But in other injury news, still not much of an update on Devin Witherspoon. I'm a little concerned. I feel like this guy's missed all of training camp at this point and all the preseason.
Yeah,
I know. So he's a very instinctual player. So I know when he finally does get out there, I'm not worried about him performing, like super badly or anything. I'm just like, is this heading towards like PUP list? Because that would suck if he has to miss the first.
Is it a hamstring?
Yeah.
God, I don't understand. I think probably because I'm not running at full sprint speed all the time, but like I've never injured my hand. Like I don't understand how that's like the most common injury I feel like in football is the hamstring.
It's just because they are so explosive and push themselves so hard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I've like never really done anything besides tweak it, but I don't move like that. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully we can get some more clarity or just, an update on how long he's going to be out, because right now we're looking at going into week 1 without our top 2 picks in the NFL draft, which just sucks. But
we've had crazy bad injury luck, though, this whole entire training camp.
The thing is, we've had a lot of minor injuries. Look at the Denver Broncos, man. Tim Patrick, torn Achilles. Jerry Jeudy just got carted off the field today. Did you hear about that?
No.
Yeah, and that was a hamstring injury, and
wow.
I saw something that it could be a grade 2 or 3 hamstring, which could be up to 8 weeks that he's out.
Jeez.
So I know it's been bad, but I mean, we've had no ACLs, we've had no Achilles.
We haven't had any season enders.
Right.
That's good.
So while it is annoying as hell that all these little things are coming up, it's football. It happens, and I think all things considered, we're coming into week 1 with pretty good health. I would just request of Pete Carroll that we don't play a single fucking starter on Saturday.
Against Green Bay, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm almost like more so of the mind like let's roll into the game starting some number 3s because
Holton.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it'd be good to get Drew some more reps in case he needs any playing time this year. Optimally, he just has another, redshirt season.
Mm-hmm.
But like any of the offensive line, don't put any starters out there. Honestly, I don't even really want them to play Bobo that much because we can't afford for him to get hurt now.
Yeah.
So throw Landers out there, Aesop Winston Jr., some Cade Johnson. We'll be fine. We'll move the ball. Those guys are solid. But yeah, preseason finale against the Packers. I don't even think we're gonna be watching it because we got the golf tourney. So
yeah,
we'll be missing that.
What time is it on?
It's a really early kickoff. It's
weird.
Like 10 a.m. or something like that. I'll have to double check.
Oh, it's in Green Bay. That's okay.
Oh, for the Seahawks preseason game.
Yeah,
that was kind of nice of the NFL to give us 2 home preseason games since we have to fucking fly so far.
Yeah, and it was cool that it was the first 2 as well, because the third one is like,
who gives a fuck?
It's basically just the last evaluation of who's going to make the team on the bottom of the roster. But I think at this point,
it's 10 a.m.
It's 10 a.m. Yeah, so we'll be. Where are we golfing on Saturday?
Sun Valley.
Sun Valley.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll be on like hole 5 or something at that point.
I don't know what time the tournament starts though.
Oh.
I don't know if it starts super early in the morning because there's going to be like a lot of drinking because there's like a keg at every hole or something like that.
Dude, it's going to be. I was actually golfing with some people that did the Aslan Classic last year, and they're like, it's the booziest golf tournament in like the state.
Well, gotta prep for that.
Yeah.
It's sold out too.
But
really?
yeah,
Nice.
I guess just to wrap up the preseason, do you have any predictions for the game at all?
No. I just hope no one gets hurt. Honestly, yeah, I'm not gonna. I probably wouldn't really even watch it if we didn't golf on Saturday, just because I'm not that invested in the preseason. Like the last game, I watched the condensed version and I was half paying attention. It's just like the preseason is. I feel like I've seen what I need to see and I've read what I've needed to read about our players to the point where I'm like, okay, let's wrap this up and get things rolling into week 1.
I'm right there with you. It happens every year.
It happens. I just get so tired of the preseason, like after the first game, basically. And I'm like, okay.
I honestly, enough. Like looking back at it, I don't know how we lived through so many years of 4 of these fucking things. Like,
yeah. I don't,
I watched all of them, but I remember even like at the height of the Seahawks power, like by preseason game 4, I'm just like so fucking bored watching these
4
things.
Seems like so many.
Yeah.
Like looking back, even though we how many years have we had? 3? 2?
Yeah. 2021 and 2020. So I guess 3?
Well, either way, it's hard to fathom that we played that many when, like, I don't know. It's just like not exactly setting people up for success as far as like the injury bug.
Yeah, I mean there were like Tony Romo's career ended in the preseason.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, it was against us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his back injury.
2016, I think. Because that was Dak's rookie year. Damn, that was that long ago.
Yeah,
we're getting old, dude.
But
yeah, I don't know. Did you have anything else for this one?
No, not really. Next week, though, next episode, we should do
full season predictions.
Yes, because it'll be the bye week. We'll have like or the bye week before the season starts.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I feel like did we do that earlier in the summer? I don't remember.
We did we went through the schedule when it came out.
Okay.
And picked wins and losses. It'd be good if we just maybe we could make a graphic of our predictions and just sort of revisit them, how we're feeling about it now, and then pick stats, leaders, and whatnot.
Yeah, we'll do all that next week.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's pretty much all I got for this one.
Yeah, same here.
And
shout out
guys,
to Julio's.
Yeah, get yourself a box of Julio's. Got them at Fred Meyer. So, yeah.
Sugary breakfast.
Oh yeah, sugary breakfast to start the day. Fruit Loops, essentially. So, yeah, go get yourself a box of these guys. All right. Thanks for listening.
Yep. Catch you on the next one.